What's up, everybody? It's Vicious here, and I'm not sure what this is going to turn into. It might be a quarters, or it might just be a full pod, to be honest. But I have C McChicken, or how would you like to be known?
Yeah, you can just call me C McChicken.
C McChicken here, and don't have Anubis here. Uh, he's taking a little bit of a hiatus, so a lot of stuff's been happening recently, and I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. So here we are. The Steam Deck got announced by Valve, the people that make Steam, of course, and it looks to be quite an interesting device. I haven't really seen a mobile device I really wanted since PSP and the PSP Vita. I'm sorry, PSP Vita, the PS Vita. Um,
The-
I I never owned the PSP. I bought the Vita and returned it because the support from Sony was like not very good on that. So feeling that I had to return it. But then the Switch came out, and the only thing I'm really interested in on the Switch is Smash Brothers and the new Shin Megami Tensei game. But here we have the Steam Deck, and I've built a PC, so it's interesting to me that I can basically have a mobile PC anywhere I wish. Um, so what do you think about that?
yeah, so I handhelds from like Game Boy Color all the way up to PS Vita. I had the PS Vita back in 2011, and I thought it was pretty cool. But I found myself going back to like my console mostly, and then the Nintendo Switch is something I have been playing a lot recently. Smash Brothers is a great game to play on there. And then the Steam Deck, when that got announced, I was like, this is pretty cool. Let me take a look at it. And like you said, it's pretty much a computer on the go. Like, it's built to play like AAA games. Like, it can handle, you know, the graphics and, all of that. So the hardware's there, opposed to like a Nintendo Switch, which isn't like meant to run those kind of games. So it'll be interesting to have that in your hands. I
Yeah.
think it's a pretty cool concept, and I'm excited for it to come out.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to get it because the way I play games and the way my lifestyle is, it just having a mobile game console has never really fit me. Besides, I guess a DS because I had to play some games on the DS because of the way Nintendo works and shit, which is like kind of like the opposite now, where they have their mainline Pokemon games on the Switch, which can be a home console too. So yeah, I'm mainly like a home console, home PC type of guy. But it's just the thought of it is just fascinating to me because we were wanting a Switch Pro, and they it came out, they announced the Switch OLED, and the Switch OLED is kind of like, it's very underwhelming. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because I don't have uh, Mr. Anubis here to be like, well, why would you say that about Nintendo's OLED? Like, that shit is garbage. That shit is whack. The only good thing about it is like, I guess the built-in LAN port, which I didn't even know the Switch didn't have. The OG Switch didn't have.
Where
Um,
the have a built-in LAN port. So when I found that out, I checked and I was like, "What the like? Holy moly!" Like I didn't even know until they said that.
Man, I'm even like, I'm a little disgusted that that wasn't one of the things that you knew about and you own a Switch.
I know. I've never really thought about hooking up a LAN cable to my Switch because I just never really thought about it. So it's just a weird thing that a console, especially in this generation, doesn't have one.
Um, and I don't even know if the Steam Deck comes with one. I actually looked that up. Does the Steam Deck come with the LAN cable? Um, but the Steam Deck does come with like a lot of expandable storage. The bottom tier one that you can get, I think it's like let me see. The bottom tier one is $399, and that comes with 64 gigabytes of built-in flash memory, and
Okay.
you can. Somebody had mentioned in this post that I'm reading that you can get like a 500 gigabyte Samsung SD card because I guess it runs off of SD. Hold on a second. Let me just double check that. This damn thing. I really should have did some more research before I got here. But you can get a Samsung micro SD card for $35.99 on Amazon for 256 gigabytes, and a 512 gigabyte card for $69.99. Nintendo wants to sell you um, a very small amount of storage space for the Switch, if I remember correctly, and any other device they have. They want you to have their specific micro SD for the Switch and the 3DS and the 2DS and etc. etc. But you can actually get any SD card you want.
Yeah.
You just gotta format it. But I think it's shady that they make it seem like you cannot use anything else. Um,
Right.
I know Anubis isn't here to defend it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. He said that Sony is like the Apple of the gaming world, but here turn around, we got Nintendo literally charging you and telling you, recommending that you don't use any other SD card but the ones that they manufacture for you, which is, I think that's bogus, and etc. etc. But the Switch really has some competition here. Like I said, there's so many games in Steam's library that reach back to like hell, even the PS3 360 generation, and there's possibility of emulation.
Right. And I was gonna say about the whole portable, Steam Deck. The cool thing about that is you have access to all the games on Steam, right?
Yeah,
So think about an abundance of a library that's already there. And if you already have a Steam account, which a lot of people, already do, just imagine just having your library on the go. And comparing the two, like the Steam Deck opposed to like the Nintendo Switch, I view the Nintendo Switch more as a home console because I don't really play mine in handheld mode much, and I don't take it anywhere. I usually just leave it in the dock. And for a guy like me who doesn't have a PC, this is a great way to get into, that genre, because I got the Xbox, I got the Nintendo, I got the PS4, but I don't have a PC. So I'm a little excited about the possibility of having a Steam Deck in my hand. Not necessarily because I don't want, my own PC or build my own, but just the convenience of it. I think, which I think makes it really cool.
yeah. Um, Hold on, I'm just reading that the official dock is supposed to be sold separately for the external display and the LAN connections for the Steam Deck, which is, I understand that. I don't think Valve is as big as Nintendo, so like I'm not gonna like hate on them for that. Just for what they're bringing to the table here, you know. Like I'm just imagining just playing Soul Calibur 6 on the go because it's one of the things that you can't really do with the Nintendo Switch because there's so many games that aren't optimized for the Nintendo Switch, and when you get into a crowd of people that play the Nintendo Switch, you seem like a hater when you say, well, they don't get this game, they're not going to get that game, and I understand the irritation with that sort of, but it's like you can't really be mad at somebody for telling the truth. Like um, I keep mentioning him, but Anubis did. He wouldn't want to admit this, but I used to tell him the similar things all the time. That Nintendo Switch isn't going to get this. It's not going to get that. Like I don't care how well it sells. It still doesn't have like a median amount of games like other consoles have. Like PlayStation and Xbox, of course. I know PlayStation gets a lot of exclusives. So does Nintendo. But the thing about Xbox is stuff that everybody should have. And by when I say stuff everybody should have, like most people own a PlayStation or an Xbox, some of them own a Switch and those other two consoles, but I think the majority of people that own consoles or any gaming device in general is like PlayStation, Xbox, you know, and PC. Like they can get the third party games pretty easily, but you don't get a lot of third party titles with the Switch because of the limitations and basic
Right.
and
The hard Switch, it doesn't allow these third party like studios to really optimize it that well to run. Because there's lots of games that Nintendo makes for the Switch, and it runs great because it's Nintendo. But you have third parties like the huge AAA studios, and even lesser studios like indie studios and stuff. Like they try to put like a big game and make it accessible to Nintendo Switch users, and the game just runs awful on that hardware. Opposed to like the Steam Deck, the only thing that the Nintendo Switch has against the Steam Deck is battery life, which isn't anything because what the Steam Deck's gonna be able to do is run those AAA games. I think it's at 720p, 60 frames per second, and I don't know. I have a Switch, and I know it's shit. Like the hardware itself just sucks so bad. But that's why I got the PS4 and the Xbox so I can play, those bigger, better games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a dick and say it sucks. For what they did, it's pretty innovative, and even Steam is copying it. But
Oh,
um,
it is for sure. But the hardware itself, Nintendo's always been like 2 steps behind.
I don't want to say that the GameCube was pretty it was pretty up there. As a matter of fact, I think the GameCube was like the most up to date thing at the time, and I don't know the SNES and I would say after the GameCube, yeah, they've been a little bit behind because the
I'd agree
Wii
with.
the Wii was just it was I could say this now. If I would have said this back in the day, like some silly hipster would have been like, "Well, it sold the most." Like I don't care how much the Wii sold. I don't care how much the Switch sold. The Wii is a piece of garbage, and um, there were some games that were ported from like GameCube and PS2, etc., for the Wii that ran absolutely awful, and they had gimmicks placed onto them because of the Wii mote. Then there was the Wii U. Wii U, interesting concept, not supported. It had the same situation as the PlayStation Vita, and basically it didn't get the support that we thought it might get. And they said that they were going to have a lot of support on the Wii U. I'll never forget that. There were so many companies that were supposed to support the Wii U, but we never got it, not everything that we should have gotten. But they shouldn't have released it at the tail end of that generation anyway. Like PS3 Slim had been out, Xbox 360 Elite had came out, and we got the Wii U, and they never dropped the price on it. That was a big killer for it. And mark my words, this probably was going to be the killer of the Nintendo Switch. They're gonna. I think Nintendo realizes, or they're gonna have to realize that they're gonna have to do something with the hardware, and they're gonna have to do something to make their next console stand out because the OLED was very disappointing. It was meme worthy up at
Everyone
this
was
point.
for the Switch Pro, and they announced, "Oh, the OLED, it has a brighter screen, and the colors pop a little bit more, and as a bonus, you can put a LAN cable into your dock."
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
Exactly.
Nintendo.
Exactly. Like it didn't strike me, and I was waiting for the Switch Pro to be announced because I was going to get it for my girlfriend, and or at least go halvesies on it. And now I'm trying to convince her to get a Steam Deck because there's an emulation tool called Yuzu, evidently, and I could just buy a Nintendo shirt or some shit, and then the way I feel, I'll just buy a Nintendo shirt and emulate some shit on Yuzu. But I doubt the Steam Deck is going to be that powerful. But um, if it is, and they better just watch out because Lord, I can't stop mentioning it. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm gonna be able to play games in 720p 60 on the go that are AAA titles. That are some of these titles were previously console exclusives, or temporary exclusives for consoles, and then made it to Steam, and now you can just play that shit on the go. Like Days Gone is on Steam, and so is Death Stranding. So I could play those with no problem in a fluid motion on the go, and it's a Sony title. Like, come on, man, this might as well be the PSP3 or something.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such an interesting prospect, and I'm glad that somebody's busting Nintendo's chops because they need to be busted because they don't lower their prices, and then they want to raise the price $50. Like, hey, this is a good entry for you. Like, it's not a good entry. Like, I had to now trade in the Switch Lite and get a Switch OLED. I'm probably not going to get that much money for a Switch Lite. And who says I really want to get rid of my Switch Lite anyway? Like that, like I just kind of want to like have something. Like if they would have came out with like a separate dock, like if they came out with a dock for the Switch Lite, I think I would have been like a little bit happier because it would have been like, all right, cool. Now I could dock this and maybe I could have some people join in and play. But no, I had to suffer because Nintendo doesn't really think about stuff like that. They think about what can we do to make you want to slightly get this next console more. You know, it's just disappointing. What were you about to say?
Um, just I agree with your point about I would have been more excited if they announced like a smaller dock for the, you know, but it's Nintendo. They got their ways of how they approach things and do things, and everyone's going to continue supporting said company, which I do. I enjoy the games they put out, but at the same time, it's so that's why I'm excited about the Steam Deck coming out and potentially getting my hands on that. And then if I do end up getting the Steam Deck, I'm not necessarily going to stop playing my Nintendo Switch because Nintendo puts out their exclusives, and that's what helps them sell their consoles.
Yeah, and people are gonna pay $60 for those exclusives, like no matter what time of the year, no matter how long it's been out. It could be out for 5 years, and I think there was like a sell on what was it, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. That shit, I think I seen it for like $10 off, and I was like, wow, that shit came out some years ago, and I was in a mini argument about discounts. That's something that we can get into. I didn't really list. I hope you're comfortable with that. Discounts and everything always comes back to Game Pass. So there was an interesting discussion brought up on the page that Anubis makes on Facebook, right? It was about Netflix. Netflix is getting into gaming, and I guess the rumor is they're going to be partnering with Sony. And in Anubis's eyes, and the guy he always agree with, miraculously, he thinks that would be like a good game changer and help Sony compete with Game Pass. And it's like, I am so sick of this Game Pass argument. I think Xbox and PlayStation exist in two different planes right now, and everybody's winning. Switch is selling a lot. PlayStation is breaking records. Xbox is doing very well for itself. I don't think that anybody really needs competition for Game Pass. I think that's a silly notion at this point because, Game Pass is nice, but I'm never going to forget that on PS3 they let us play for free for, when did PS3 come out? 2006, all the way up until PS4 came out, and that was a huge deal, But everybody overlooks that, and we're just going to talk about Game Pass. That's fine, but I just wish we could bury that conversation. What were you saying?
I was just, now that we're diving into Game Pass and stuff, I mean, I am like wholeheartedly an advocate for Game Pass, but not like arrogant to the fact that I'm not aware of like the other services that are out there. Like for instance, PlayStation, they have gone more towards like rewarding PlayStation Plus members with free games as well. They've been improving the library in PS Now. So whenever I hear about the comparisons between Game Pass and PlayStation and like Nintendo, all in that, I know PlayStation and Xbox, they're pretty much up there. I mean, I feel like there's no sense in saying one's better than the other. I feel like both offer great services to their consumers, and I, it's just Nintendo's still lacking behind them. And talking about like PlayStation and Xbox now, since we're on the subject and I'm talking about it, but next gen, we're about what midway through, right? How well is PS5 doing? How well is the Series X doing?
Mm.
And honestly, I think right now PS5 slightly has the edge as far as what game like exclusives they've dropped because Xbox hasn't really dropped anything new yet. And what's
Yeah.
your thoughts on the whole midway point for next gen so far?
Well, so far I think it's pretty interesting. Horizon Forbidden West just got delayed to 2022.
I did see that. That's
Um, I don't know if God of War is still supposed to come out this year. I highly doubt it because we haven't seen any like a single trailer. But it would be the most hypest shit if it came out like just in November, just out of nowhere, just like
right.
no trailer, no nothing. It's just God of War comes out in November. But I think that you know everybody's doing well. Like I said, everybody's doing well. The Switch is still doing well, selling a bunch. PS5s has sold over 10 million units so far. People say to who? It's a meme to say who are they selling them to, but people bought them. I don't care like who bought them. They've been sold. You know, uh, and the same thing goes to Xbox. Like people need to stop that. There's a chip shortage right now, and that they're trying to work around it. They're trying to get different chips in these consoles, and it's a very difficult process. Regarding the games, I think that Xbox is doing a good job catching up. To be honest, I know that sounds like a put down, but it's just the truth. Like they got Game Pass giving you games that came out years ago, and then they got the games that are coming out that soon that are new, brand new, coming up. I'm not sure what all the games are, but if you go to E3, they'll show you the 400 fucking games they showed or whatever that they're supposed to be getting free. What were you about to say? Something?
I was just laughing because you're right. I mean, when Game Pass first came out, it was like, old games, right? No,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you're like a new like consumer like myself jumping into Xbox
Mm-hmm.
and I got this huge library to play and games I haven't played before. But the cool thing about the Game Pass, day and date release, any Xbox exclusive that comes out, you're gonna play it on day one, and that's the advantage of not advantage against PlayStation, but advantage as an Xbox user because I know some people for some reason they just have Xbox Gold and they don't really mess with Game Pass, but the value's there. $5 extra a month, day and date release, exclusives. I mean, for the next couple of months now, actually, there's going to be a new Xbox game on Game Pass for you to try out, which is exciting for people like myself.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm sure. I guess I could indulge in Game Pass because I have a PC, but I just don't feel like it. Like every game that is coming out that I'm excited for is not going to be on Game Pass, ironically, and it's like I just noticed a pattern there. It's just like when something hits Game Pass, maybe I'll grab it, but I'm not really trying to talk about that right now. I guess I just evaluating what's going on right now in this whole generation. I'd say they're doing pretty well, but that I'm sorry. I was just thinking back to what I said about how they was giving you guys old games. So I was thinking about Yakuza Kiwami Remastered Collection. I was just like, that's one of those games where I think about it and it's like, damn, they really like giving that out for free, which is fine. But I look back and I'm like, damn, I could have sworn these games were like $2 on PS Plus, like multiple times or some shit, and actually Steam too. But I don't know, they're doing good. I'm sorry, that was sort of like a backhanded compliment. Um, I couldn't help myself, man. Anubis isn't here. I like to rib him a little bit on it, uh, but he's not. Uh, PS5 is doing well with the exclusives. We got Ratchet and Clank and Returnal. What is it? That I forget the name of that game. It's free or was free. Destruction All Stars. Genshin Impact. I'm not sure if Genshin Impact is on Xbox, but I know it's on PS4, PS5.
Kind of lame, but yeah. Genshin Impact isn't on Xbox. I'm just like, why isn't it on Xbox? But
Yeah,
hey,
it's like one of the most successful games ever. Like some people would spend $300 playing that game. I don't know
oh,
who they were. What's up?
like our buddy Anubis, he's one of those people that spends $300 on Genshin Impact.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was with that, but you know, every time he explains it, I just, you know, I remember I tried calling him. I told him he was a whale, you know, and he's like, "Well, you must be a whale because you pay for DLC." I'm like, "No, I'm not a whale because I pay for DLC. You're a whale because you overpaid for a free game, and he just does not. It doesn't compute, but he'll get there one day."
One,
Yeah, but yeah, the exclusives is like it's real nice. I would say like the most negative thing about the PlayStation, probably I don't really like the controller like that. I guess, but you know that's just like more of like a personal gripe. I'm trying to think of like something overarchingly negative. Uh, no, I can't think of anything unless you can.
um, about PlayStation in general.
5.
Oh, about the PS5. I mean, I don't have a PS5, but I've done on it. Um, I don't have. I can't really have anything negative to say about it. Like I told you before, I came from PlayStation, right? And then I jumped on the Series X. I've always been. Yeah, I'm a traitor. I know. I'm sorry. I changed colors, but don't worry. I'm still a PlayStation fan at heart.
Mm.
I've always loved what those studios were able to put out from Ratchet and Clank, God of War especially. I had such a fun time playing that game, and Jack and Dexter. I'm talking about games before Jack and Dexter was
Daxter.
one of my favorites to play. I don't know. I've always been a fan of PlayStation. The controllers always felt great to hold. The console design was always great.
Mm.
I've never had any issues, so I'm just. But you know me, I'm a fan of everything. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's nothing like negative publicly, like any press or anything that you wanted to talk about.
only thing.
Because this is the part where Nubis excels, and I had to correct him sometimes because sometimes he'd be saying stuff, and it's just like his own like microcosm of how businesses should be ran and shit. You know.
Not necessarily about PlayStation, but just like Horizon getting delayed. I guess that's kind of negative because people were looking forward to it, but at the same time, if it needs delayed, it needs delayed. I don't know. I don't really. I just don't have anything negative to say about PlayStation.
Fair enough. We need to get Anubis back on here so he can start talking shit, and I can like make him look silly again. Nah, but um, uh, and Switch, I don't really have much to say about Switch. It's just doing the same thing it's been doing. People, it's a success. People want to play Animal Crossing. I don't want to play Animal Crossing. You know, so there's not much there for me. You know, it's just sort of over. Besides Steam Deck, you know, like we mentioned earlier, it's just fucking, you know, keep up or something. Like, you gotta do something about this, Nintendo, because right now they're just like fucking around, making you look silly.
I was gonna ask you because you know how PlayStation 5's controller. It's the DualSense. It has all those fancy like vibrations and stuff and sounds, opposed to like the Xbox controller. You know, it has your haptic feedback, and that's pretty much it. It like, do your hands ever like get tired of holding the PS5 controller with all that going on? Is it like an annoyance, or is it just simply just super immersive and you truly enjoy that like aspect of the controller?
I like turn that shit off half the time.
Okay.
Like, that's something that I've mentioned on Twitter. Like, I wish they would stop mentioning how great the PS5 controller is because it's not that great. The vibration, interesting. Keep it. It's interesting. I keep it. I don't like the triggers. That's one thing that they've been bragging about is like the triggers,
Yeah,
how they bend and how they like have like different resistance. I don't care about that. Games have had. There have been games before the PS5, way before even the PS4. Hell, even in PS2 days, where you could lightly press the shoulder buttons or the trigger
yes.
buttons, and you would get a different result from if you had just mashed the shit out of it. This is not something that is new. If you play games like that and you know what I'm talking about, shout out to you. I can't remember many games right now, but there are games where speed was dependent on that. There are games where multiple different factors went into that. It's not an entirely new thing. In the vibration, I don't care that much about it. Controllers have vibrated. The way this vibrates is unique. Like when I play Returnal, it's unique. But when I play anything else, I don't care that much. Some people might put up a video of Call of Duty and they're like, holding the trigger and then the controller's moving really fast. I don't like that. I don't like that non-precision. I don't want it to vibrate in my hands like that. And yeah, like the controller is all right, but I also don't like the D-pad either. The D-pad doesn't feel as tight as the PS4s to me. PS4 to me just feels like the perfect controller. I don't know if it's because I'm used to it or what, but I tried playing on my PS3 earlier, and I'm like, damn, PS3 controller is too close together. I tried, I get on the PS5, and it's like, man, this D-pad feels like fucking glossy a little bit. But that's just me.
I'm holding my PS4 controller right now, and this is one of my favorite controllers. Like,
mine too.
It's too big, it's not too compact, it's just the right size. The D-pad, it's just quick. There's no tension when you're pressing it. The buttons are easily to access with my thumb, my fingers, all that. The left triggers, right triggers, like, it's a great controller. So I've just always been a fan of the PS4 controller, which, I have one. But if I ever get a PS5, I'll probably feel the same a little bit as you do. Like,
Yeah, it takes some getting used to. But, the features that they say are like, oh man, that's so amazing. Like, it's cool the first couple times, but like after a while, you're like, man, I don't really need this. I don't need to. I don't need to feel all these vibrations like that. Like, it doesn't make me feel more immersed. Like, it's a video game. It's right in front of my face. I know I'm not there. I know I'm not there. It's not fucking 3D. This isn't King Kong 2003 in 3D or some shit. But yeah, it's cool. Did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
yeah, you answered it perfectly, man. I appreciate that.
No problem. So what have you been playing lately?
So, recently I've just been playing Pokemon Unite.
What is that, by the way? Is that like the one that's on the Switch?
Yeah, it's a MOBA game, with Pokemon essentially, and I've been having a fun time playing it.
Mm-hmm.
The nostalgia is there, but at the same time, I've been wanting to find a MOBA to enjoy again. Like I've mentioned to you before in the past, I used to play like Paragon, and that was my first one. But Pokemon Unite, it's quick. The matches are 10 minutes long,
Hmm.
so it doesn't feel like you're stuck playing 30 to 40 minutes, even to an hour, stuck in a match. Each Pokemon has their own stats, abilities. You got items, all that fun stuff. So that's what I've been playing recently. Is just Pokemon Unite. Definitely recommend it. It's pretty fun. Another game I've been playing recently is let's see, Sea of Thieves. I jumped back into that a little bit,
Yeah. All right.
which they had that new expansion that came out with Jack Sparrow and
Hmm.
all that fun stuff. So that's what I've been doing: Pokemon Unite and Sea of Thieves. Nothing too crazy.
All right. Well, that's sweet. You know, good to hear that you're having fun.
Yeah.
I think, huh?
I was gonna say, what have you been playing?
I've been playing. I've actually been streaming a bit. I've been streaming some. I was playing Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus, and I swapped over to Final Fantasy 13. And I got Miles Morales on PS5 recently. That game is that's actually another subject I kind of want to talk about. I'll skip over that. And I've been playing the Mega Man Zero collection and the Mega Man X collection. Anubis always says he plays more games than me on a daily basis, and I'm like, bro, I'm playing like these fucking collection games, and you're over here playing Genshin Impact and fucking. Uh, he needs to do something about his fucking storage. That's like two other things I want to talk about if you got time.
Yeah, some time.
Yeah, so those are the games I've been playing, and yeah, I want to go back to Miles Morales. That game took me about like 11 hours to 100% get through like the story and do all the side missions and everything, all the side content. And that's I don't think that's a short amount of time. People keep saying that that game is short. I believe some person said that if you try to get through the story as quickly as possible, you get through it in like 6 hours. But I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know why. I don't know why like people take these open world games with narratives and like new game plus and just like completely disregard that there's a new game plus. Like it's long enough of a game where I had to sit down multiple times and play it, you know, and
Right.
I was satisfied with it, and I just wanted to shoot Miles Morales some bail because it's a really good game, and if you like the Spider-Man game on PS4, I think that Miles Morales is just it's a worthy. I don't know what you call it. It's a sequel, but it's like not a sequel. It's like a stopgap in between like the next game. You know, it's a standalone sequel, DLC or whatever.
Yeah,
So
I'm right there with you. I just never understood like why people will get these games and just sit in front of their TV 6 8 hours, however long it takes, and be like, "Oh, this game, the story mode's only 6 to 8 hours." Well, dude, you just literally spent your pretty much your whole day playing it. You didn't really take your time to enjoy, like you said, the narrative of it, exploring the open world. There's like different stuff to collect. Like there's side missions.
yeah, I mean, you're
So
Spider-Man. You know, go around the city. Like a lot of sandbox games, and Anubis had this point of it's short for a sandbox game. Well, he used open world, but I don't know if I don't know if those things are if it's exactly open world. Like I think sandbox is more accurate because it's more
okay,
like GTA, where like you have a finite area and there's not really like a battle area or like a fucking like I don't know. I had to look up the definition for sandbox, but he said it's short for a sandbox game. Yeah, I guess I gotta agree, but also most sandbox games, I don't think you get a new game plus like Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto. Good examples. Um, I don't know. I just feel like that game for I think it came out for $40, $40 or $50, and I got it on sale for $20 because I was like, okay, well if it's a short game, I'll get it eventually. And I got it for $20. I'm like, this was a fucking steal because I think it was at least worth 40. You know, uh,
yeah.
especially if you haven't played the other game, or if you played the other game and you just want to play some more. Like, there's a lot of content in there that's interesting and fun. Um, but that was something that we were talking about. I think we just sort of agreed to disagree for like the first time in like months.
Yeah, because typically, you guys don't typically agree to disagree. It's normally
No, he
that.
normally fucking he's hard headed.
Yeah, but I would view it as like a sandbox game.
hmm And what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? I forgot about that quickly. So we're talking about Spider Man. We're talking about, oh yeah, that's right. The amount of space you need for games like, so the PS5. One thing I will say might be a shortcoming for most people is 825 gigs, and that's not going to last you the entire generation.
Oh
Um,
no.
they recently came out with like some Sony approved NVMe SSD drives for the PS5. So these drives will allow you to play PS5 games off of them and be very fast. Just like the PS5's internal SSD does right now. You cannot play PS5 games off of external SSDs or HHDs. You can only play PS4 games on them, and that's kind of like a bogus thing going on with Sony. I will say that. I hope that they fix that going forward. But how many games do you think you need to have on your PlayStation or any device at once, Corey?
Um, I mean, I never really need a whole lot on my device because if I'm playing a couple games here and there, I'll have at most. I usually have like I don't know, six downloaded, and then whenever I want a new game, if I don't have any storage, I just swap them out. Because it's gonna be in my library, so I just download the game I want to play. Delete the one that I'm not playing or haven't played in a while. Just keep that rotation going.
Mm-hmm. I
But like I know right now on my Xbox, I pretty much downloaded a bunch of games because, like I told you before, I new to Xbox. I want to try as many as possible, but typically I have about maybe 6 to 8 games at a time.
mm, it's kind of where I'm at too. You know, um, I think that you can compartmentalize and figure out
Yeah,
what you want to have on your system, and that's not like the biggest thing in the world. Like when it comes to multiplayer games, and you gotta like you want to play all of them at once. That's where it becomes a problem, and that's how it is for most people. I brought this subject up because Anubis likes having all his fucking games available all at one time because he says he plays everything every day, which I don't believe to this day. I'll call him a liar to his face. Like,
I couldn't. I mean, my thing is, I think the reason why some people do that is, I don't know, maybe in the back of their head, they're like, oh, I just need this here. So if I ever play it again, there's no guarantee I'll play it again anytime soon. But if I ever do, it's right there. You know.
yeah. I mean, I kind of do that with my PS4, but like, I don't really need those games on there. Like, it's nice to have them on there just in case I feel like, yeah, I think I might want to return to it. But I don't know. I just never believe that somebody needs to have all their games loaded at once, and it just seems silly. You
No,
know, especially, well, he has gig internet, so I doubly don't understand that. He could download a fucking 50 gigabyte game in like 5 minutes or some shit, and like it'll be like less than 20. He won't have to wait long for it, but he's like, I don't want to have to wait. Like, I don't have to wait. Like, dude, you just fucking download that shit, make a fucking banana sandwich or something, and a peanut butter banana sandwich, you'll be good. Holy shit, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. You know he's a character,
yeah, he is.
but I think that's about it for now. You have anything else you want to add? Anything you want to plug?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, yeah. Well, this is another episode of Immersive Arcade. We will catch you guys on the flip side.